Hello creators, welcome to another video. Today we are hopping with the ICS blog hop, and I am using the Mountain Air stamp set and coordinating dies to create a man card using black and white. We've been challenged to use only black and white, which is going to be very hard for me, but I think I can manage. I'm starting with a basic black card base, just standard. You can find all of the measurements for this card on my blog, MKre8tions.com. It's linked in the description box below if you are watching this video on YouTube. And I am going to cut 2 mats out of Whisper white cardstock. These are both going to go on the inside of my card. And then I'm going to use the other half of this Whisper white cardstock to stamp some images. I'm also going to use some scrap black cardstock to heat emboss in the white Stampin' emboss powder. And I'm really not sure when I was making this card how it was going to turn out or what I wanted to do. It just kind of evolved into the landscape type card. So I really hope that you enjoy it and let me know what you thought in the comments. I'm going to start by stamping some images from the Mountain Air stamp set. I knew that I wanted to use the mountain range, the moon, and the clouds, so that's where I kind of started. I used Memento ink because originally I thought I wanted to use Stampin' blend markers, and the Memento works really well with the blends. However, I ended up not using the blend markers after I kind of got some momentum with this card and started to see the direction I was going. I used some Versamark to stamp the moon onto some black cardstock, and then I heat embossed that with the white Stampin' emboss powder. I also wanted to use a sentiment from the Peaceful Moments stamp set. Since I was making a birthday card, I went ahead and got out the happy birthday, and I'm going to stamp that in the Versamark as well and heat emboss that in white too. Then I took my Memento with that cloud image and I stamped 3 clouds on a white background. I also went ahead and stamped the mountain range in this Memento on the white as well. After heat embossing my embossed images, I punched out the moon with the 1-inch circle punch. I wanted to incorporate the tree line from this set on the card, so I was going to just put it straight down onto the base of my card. I used my embossing buddy to rub all over the front, and then I stamped in Versamark the tree line, and then I'm going to heat emboss that with the white Stampin' emboss powder. And then that's where the tuck technique comes in, so stay tuned for that. So to get this cut out on the card base without cutting through both layers, I am sandwiching the cutting plate in between my card. Now you want to be careful when you do this because you don't want that folded edge to get caught on the side of your machine. So just be careful when you do this and make sure that you run it through without that top plate on to make sure all the layers will pass by without getting damaged. I'm going to take the tree die that just cuts out the tops of the trees, and I'm going to line that up on my card front, and then without covering it completely with the top cutting plate, I'm just going to put it about 1/4 to 1/2 inch from the edge. That way it doesn't cut completely off of the entire card. I'm going to run that through my machine, not all the way, but until I have probably about 4 inches or so cut out, and then I'm going to run it back through the way I just came to make sure that I don't run over the entire card. And when you take the card out, you have a little slit in which you can tuck the mountains. Then I went ahead and cut out the mountains as well as my 3 clouds, and then I started to assemble this card. Even at this point I still wasn't exactly sure how I was going to put this together. I ended up cutting the mountains apart because I didn't have quite enough space in my tuck area. So cutting them apart worked beautifully. I just kind of scooched them a little closer together. I laid out all of the pieces kind of where I thought I would want them to go, and then I brought out my adhesives and started to glue everything down. I'm just gluing the top portions of the mountains and then tucking them behind the trees, because when you open the card, you want to make sure that you don't have adhesive sticking on the bottom of the mountain, which will get onto the inside of your card base. So just be careful when you glue those down. I also added some of the gorgeous crinkled seam binding ribbon, and I pulled it pretty taut so that it wasn't as crinkly. I also went ahead and glued it to the inside top flap of the card base because this card mat covers all of that up beautifully. I also put the second card mat inside the card so that there are 2 panels that you can write a letter to your recipient. And finally, I thought this card needed a little bit extra, so I went ahead and took my craft ink in Whisper White and I just dotted it all around the sky so that it kind of looked like a starry evening. Let me know in the comments below, will you prefer it with the stars or without? And there we are, creators. That is our finished card. I really hope that you enjoyed. Go down into the description box and click on that coordinating blog post link so that you can hop along to all of the other wonderfully talented demonstrators in this month's hop. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please subscribe, hit that thumbs up, and I will see you on the next video. Bye!